Welcome to my weekly recap of the week ending Halloween, October 31st, 2014. Given my challenges of audio and video, and you'll have one highlight on this in the coming show, I'm wearing a headset room for the share with you the presentation I've prepared, which you should be able to see now. And actually I forgot to put it in, see if it works in presentation mode, which I hope so. The previous one does. No, it does. Well, it's pretty big. I hope you can see it. Yeah, you can see it. Perfect. Sorry for the delay. Always something new. So weekly recap, as I mentioned. And like I said, I was in Las Vegas at the Lano Hotel, attending IBM's InTech Conference. Very well done conference in my view, over 12,000 attendees. Probably the biggest conference I've been this year. Been to quite a lot of them, as we'll talk about a little bit later. And some interesting stats about big data usage by IBM, that data-centric companies are 1.8 times more likely to use the cloud. So no surprise here that the cloud is pretty much the only way for companies to play, evaluate, and consider what they could do with big data and analytics before they see continued usage of that, and then think in the second phase about where to deploy it, remain in the public cloud, build something around hybrid cloud, or potentially take it back in-house. So good start to Impact. I'm trying to use the Showcase app. Let me see if that's going to work. If I say show this item, yeah, it says show this item. Interesting. And I was talking about 3 major takeaways, as I usually do with a keynote on the first day of an event. And I was talking about, first of all, interesting, all my windows got closed, so I have to reopen that. I was talking about, for the first time, that IBM is pushing data services, right? The pieces which were coming part of Watson in general, data service to developers, with over 7 new data services being part of Bluemix, which I think is very powerful to enable the ecosystem to build these big data and analytic applications. Content management is an area which, since the Finite acquisitions, I've not really been looking into what IBM has been doing. So it is good to see that this surfaced Impact Insights also. And of course, it's running on SoftLayer. And last but not least, a lot of glue is coming over these products. Right? As IBM integrates them. We'll talk about it in a later blog post from me in this weekly recap. So let's take the show item away, and you should be able to see my presentation again. I hope that all works. Relatively, we got an update also on the Apple IBM partnership. I understand all the rationale of IBM, why they're doing it, and there's no really enterprise angle that Apple has been able to use so far, leaving this to smaller partners and IT to figure it out. So understand that. I understand also that IBM might be building lots of interesting applications here and has some very good ideas. But then look back 2 years ago, how hard it is for a company which is even closer to business traditionally than Apple is, and potentially even IBM is with SAP, which basically failed with their first generation of their 50 or so applications, which are not in any way successful, leading to a revamp over there at SAP. So it will be interesting to see which applications are there. And I would love for IBM to say we're agnostic shop for that, right? Companies are not 100% in bed with Apple. They use Android devices. They might even use the occasional Windows and BlackBerry devices. So I prefer IBM to be open, be a Switzerland service for everything. But what hasn't happened can still happen, right? So, and a glance on the analyst working room. You see how glamorous it is. It was probably close to 50 tables or so for one-to-one meetings, as always, perfectly organized by the IBM Analyst Relations team. And then was off on Tuesday to our event, to the Constellation research event, Constellation Connected Enterprise, held at the beautiful Ritz and Half Moon Bay over in the Bay Area, close south to San Francisco. And we had a number of highlights. Starting Wednesday, first we had the CEO of Oracle, Mark Hurd, there, and in a very personal fireside chat together with Ray, unveiling some things about Larry Ellison people were not so aware of. Like there is no single institution bearing his name, but he continues to provide for charity. So think Mark gave some good insights to different things we don't usually see and hear about Oracle. Equally, Penn Murphy did a great job on the cloud panel on the info side, talking about how they're using their partnership with AWS. And Wednesday night, I loved the keynote John Hagel did about what is really happening from his side in our environment. So great job from there. I did a quick case study there. We also on Wednesday night had our Supernova Awards, and the winner in the consumerization of IT and the new C-suite was a franchise taker of Applebee's, a company called RMH franchise out of the Midwest. And I had a chance to do a video interview, a video case study together with Robin Jenkins, the lady who over there in a double split job between HR and a regular marketing job introduced gamification together with Bunchball as a tool to reduce retention, because retention fast food is usually very, very high, in the 90+%. At RMH franchise, even a little higher, in the 120%. The enterprise can do significant savings of, if they reduce this attrition by 10 percentage points, under 10%, they can save over $1 million in onboarding, training, fluctuation, transfer, interview costs, and so on. So definitely with a project, and just 10 percentage points will pay for the whole project. Check out the video on my website. And then it was panel time. I was lucky to have a significant big panel, and as you can see, we all had a good time. So starting from my right to my left, we have Naomi, shame on me, from Castle Light Help. Next to her is Jason Saba from Ceridian. Next to him is Debbie Hirschlag from Workday. Next to her is Pat Pigren from Ultimate Software. Next to him is Gretchen Alarcon from Oracle. So you see, we all had a good time. We talked about 5 HCM trends as we see them. You can bet we talked about aging workforce. We talked about broken performance management. We talked about the impact of social and gamification on HR, and of course we couldn't miss the ACA Act and its implications. So very good panel, as you can see. Mentioned before, everybody had a good time, and the audience liked it too. Very good event on Friday. Harvard economist Professor Raj Chetty looking into inequality and what does it mean for education. We had some great painters from, I believe, Action Insight or something like this, doing live pictures. You see an example about how equality and digital divide affects education. And on Friday then had another panel, and the fun honor, we had a good time too, to interview Catherine Ulrich from Heidrick & Struggles and Brian McDonald from the Digital Board, talking about the trends in what they see in recruiting changing in the digital age, the role of the chief digital officer. It's an individual out of the team sport, so interesting panel. And given my jinx and bad luck, we had not only one, but we had 2 power failures, as you can see on the right light. Our event team was great at bringing in candles, and Ray on the left and Dr. Natalie on the right were so nice to flash on us with their cell phones. So yeah, a couple of jinx in the case of that event, but still a great panel. People had a good time. It was basically our contribution was Halloween to Halloween, no lights there. Also on Wednesday, before SuccessFactors had me over in their webinar marathon, basically almost over 2 days, where I spoke about globalization, HR, and business model success. Was well attended in webinar. Check out the replay as it's available on the website. And then wrapping up the week, I wrote my event report about IBM Insights. And what really dawned on me basically on that is that are things basically coming together for IBM in 2015. And there's a couple of, I blogged about my positive signs, right? This IBM wields significantly partner power, right? So not only the partnership earlier with Apple, which I discussed here, the partnership with SAP 2 weeks ago, blogged about that, and last week it was a partnership with Twitter. So IBM can pull these partnerships off and bring bring synergies between its products and partners' offerings to place. And then there's product synergy. So if you think about the whole combination of designing the power chip architecture, the power architecture on which Watson runs really well, making that available in soft layer, making that available with Bluemix capabilities as a data service we talked about earlier. So there's a lot of things which are coming together for IBM right now. And then Watson is the big differentiator for IBM, right? And for the first time, I kind of like got a sense, maybe shame on me for not picking up earlier, but it's clear that basically the cognitive function of Watson is that it will take human requests for insight, normal human phrased questions, and then for the first time I saw kind of like a normalized answer with a spider grid on the left. So I should take a screenshot, sorry it's missing here, showing how good are the answers that Watson can find, and then on the right side you could drill down in the single individual insights, which often are true analytics in the sense that they are an action or recommendation, and they're using largely catalyst in the background. So for the first one that was visible, it's interesting. Definitely nobody else is doing that, so if IBM can pull that off, definitely going to be a sign that everything is coming together at IBM. My concerns remain the service business and dependency on the IBM side. I will look at the financial numbers. I'm not a financial analyst, but it's significant both from a revenue perspective and potentially also from a profitability perspective. Because IBM is shedding less profitable products and also services, like recently the x86 business, it's going to be interesting to see how many servers will be in that bottom third. And certainly servers are important to help customers with adoption, be at the pulse of the things that are happening for customers in the sense of next generation practices. But IBM's global business service is way too big for that. So and the problem is if you do that, is IBM on the product side really needs to partner with other professional services vendors, keep their products open, which will take away market share or potentially compete with IBM. And IBM Global Business Service knows that, wants to compete with them, but it's, in my view, a concern. The API economy is a very compelling, is the second concern, is a very compelling vision of where we will build applications with the help of Bluemix and exposed APIs, but it hasn't done before, right? We all remember composite applications, and composite applications never really took off, but now it's a different technology, so it could take off, but it's unique, and being unique is always different. As in the past, companies always want to get rid of integration, have a vendor do the integration, right? The SAP market leadership being the biggest incarnation of that trend. But I tell you, the future doesn't have to be like the past, so there's an opportunity to a certain point. This could be turning around, one of the strongest points for IBM growth, but it could be also a reason why the IBM team might be looking into an acquisition, which they certainly have problems to, if the integrated enterprise suite would be of importance. And then there's huge engineering quality challenge, right? Bringing together all these things, all the way starting from the hardware side, all the way to the user interface, coupled with service and so on. So IBM has definitely the bench maturity to get this done, but certainly not an easy thing to do. All right, enough about takeaways on the IBM side. Even staring at this little highlight here, if you're attentive, you see that's from last weekend. But how can this be? I should have taken a screenshot this weekend too, right? It's getting midnight. The wake-up call is 6 o'clock, but you can see it's 7 hours and 2 minutes. Why is that? Well, I use a BlackBerry and people make fun of me, but the BlackBerry will know that the time has changed. And actually, time has changed for me 2 Saturdays in a row. I'm getting used to that. So very good engineering out of Canada. So well done. And our fashion highlight this week, lots of sock wars going on. I can successfully mention that I out-socked both of my channels, largely also because Jason Corsello and who was the gentleman? And Patanjali from Ultimate weren't there, who outsocked me last year. But my colleague Terence got a solution to that, right? Just wear no socks and you outsock those socks. Well, I'm going to be this week, I'm going to be at Workday Rising Monday, Tuesday in San Francisco, then jump on a plane and going to see Infosys on Wednesday in Orlando for the Analyst Summit. Very much look forward to that. 2 key events, both to check in what Workday may not have told us yet at their Technology Analyst Summit. I'm sure they kept a couple of things in the back, and it will be interesting to cover which ones. And Infosys interesting listening to Vishal Sikkar's keynote presentation at OpenWorld, right? Who would have thought Vishal Sikkar being at OpenWorld as a keynote in spring of this year? 4 of his 5 major topics were product topics. So really looking forward to see how Infosys will lay out the roadmap for these more product and less service-centric issues. And then it's going to be London calling. Unfortunately, I can't tell you what. Sometimes analysts have to do travels also without sharing what, but I'll be in London Thursday, Friday, heading back to California on Saturday. That's where it was. Thanks for bearing with me. Let me get the camera back. If I find the pieces, here's how to reach me. Let's stop sharing. And yeah, well, with me, this was a little longer. Still, I cannot figure out where Hangouts is showing how long I've been babbling here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Appreciate you next week. Thanks and bye-bye.